Welcome guys to my next video. In this video, I will show you just quick features which you can use while you are working on Google Colab, on Kaggle kernels or Jupyter Notebook. So basically, it is exploring interactive Python and exploring these interactive features in IPython. So in this tutorial, we will talk about retrieving documentary, about retrieving the source code, about using tab keyboard effectively, then about start keyboard and in and output features. So IPython is built inside Jupyter Notebook, is inside Google Colab, is inside Kaggle kernels. So I will show you the quick demonstration, quick practical usage of these 5 features. So before diving in, let's open terminal. So then let's run Jupyter Notebook. Jupyter Notebook. So I use Jupyter Notebook, classical, powerful, and simple. So exploring IPython part 1. So here five things which we will cover now. So retrieving documentation with question mark. So question marks is the same thing as help function. For example, if I import numpy as np, and if I want to know about numpy function numpy.function, so if I type here the question mark, I can see the docstring. So what parameters does it need? What is this? What's the description? Everything. What it returns, if it is written, of course. It is the same thing like help function. So np.arrange. So here it is. And this is the same thing. The same thing with np.arrange doc. It also shows the same thing. Here it is. And np.arrange question mark. All of these 3 things do one thing. But the thing that question mark is very simple. Because it means like np.arrange, what is that? Just ask questions, like asking question, and it will show it. So it's first thing. So another thing. For example, I created my function, right? Def display, for example, display function, which takes x. Then I will write documentary, get int variable, and shows it with print. And it will do the same thing, print x. So here it is. So what does this question mark do? In simply that if I will type display and put this question mark, it will show the docstring. Docstring is the command between function and between it is code inside. It describes what the code do in this function. It's simple. So it's useful. Another use of question mark. I have a list. For example, I have a list. For example, I have this list and I don't know what is that. For example, I just forgot. I just want to know what is L. And it will show that string forms, what is type, and other thing. It's also kind of handy, useful. It works for dictionary, for other things, for anything, any initialization. For example, if I wrote name equal to, for example, Salvador, then I wrote name and then question mark, it will show this thing. It will work. It also works for built-in functions. For example, range. What is a range? So usage of question mark is kind of general, very general, and it's very useful. Next thing, retrieving source code with double question mark. I really like this feature because it is very useful. Many times you import just one library and use one function, just get answers, put on another function, but you don't know how it works actually. Or you want to change the things, or you want to create your own function. In that case, you need to read the source code. You can read from GitHub, yeah, of course, but inside of Jupyter Notebook, inside of this IPython, you can also get access to source code. For example, this is function, right? This is our function. Let's make it more complex. For example, y equal to x multiplied double times, then y equal to, example, y plus x, and then return y. Let's hide it. So for example, we have this function, and I want to retrieve the source code. So display, and I wrote double question mark, and I will see the source code. Can you see source code? The same thing. Very, very good. Very, very perfect. This is kind of more advanced than one question mark because it also shows the docstring. So it works for most of libraries, but not for all libraries, unfortunately. For example, if I import from sklearn.model selection, import, for example, what function? For example, cross-validation score, just delete cross-validation score, then wrote cross-validation score and double question mark, and I see here's code. So it is function. This is its parameters. So this is docstring. It's docstring. So here scorer. So it checks scoring. It calls for another function. Then it shows result, and it shows results and test score. Okay, simple, right? Very, very handy. This also very handy. I like it. But for example, I can't do the same thing for NumPy example dot function. I can see only docstring, and that's all, basically. For example, I can't see, I'm not sure, but I think I can't see for function also range, how range works. Okay. It shows docstring, and that's all. Example, I don't know how, for example, this len function works. It doesn't show the source code, but for most cases, it shows the source code. So next thing, tap keyboard. So we know that we are working with a lot of libraries. There are a huge amount of libraries in Python, and in some cases we forget the names of library, names of modules, and it's like natural. So for example, if I forgot something, for example, I forgot how to write matplotlib pyplot, for example. I wrote just mat and then press the tab, and it will show the matplotlib, then .pyplot and splc. So it's handy, very, very, very handy. So another thing, from sklearn, I want to import, for example, linear regression. From sklearn, press tab, sklearn, linear regression, a linear model, import linear regression, that's all. And when I want to initialize this linear regression model equal to linear regression, just I wrote linear and then it will automatically full in if there is no another suggestion. And then I wrote another things, initialize, and then model dot fit and other things. So here it shows model fit doc strings. Let's see the source code also of this fit. So here's source code. So it's def function fit. So here XY validation data positive is part. So this is the code which you need. Example, I can also see the code for linear regression itself, just doing like this. So I think tab is, most of people use tab also. Tab is useful. It also works for Google Colab. Maybe in Google Colab you should type Shift plus tab. But in any case, this tab is powerful. Small, powerful feature. Next thing, star keyboard. I think most of you have seen on internet that this kind of importing thing, like from pandas, import star. It means that import all from Python, from pandas. Import all functions from pandas, everything from pandas. But it's not always useful and it decreases the readability of code. And there is a probability that your own functions may also have the same meaning, the same name as function in pandas, and it will kind of overwrite, like create some kind of problem. So if you, in this case, star is importing everything from pandas. For example, we can use star also for another thing. For example, if I import pandas SPD, and for example, let's see the code. So this is functions. So let's assume that I forgot for example, the thing that time delta index. No, for example, to time delta or to pickle. I wrote PD, I forgot the thing, but I know that it is pickle. Wrote star, then pickle, and then question mark, and it will show the code, the suggestion. Aha, I know that. Then just write two and then pickle. Or like it's additional, but some cases it may help, but you can use just tab also to see all these functions and wrote the here pickle. But the case that if you wrote star and then pickle, so it will show you suggestion. Here is the suggestion. So it's the next thing and the last thing. The last very, very cool thing. I think no one knows that. First time when I saw that, it was like, it shocked me. Like, wow, that's very, very useful. So here's in and out object. So in object is list object. So it shows everything what is written inside. So what you wrote inside these cells. So first thing is 0, then you import, run magic, and then other things. So np arrange docs, help function, other things, run line magic, like it shows like raw data of all inputs. And so we can like take one and we can see the, for example, 0, 1. If you see here is numbers 21, 18, just wrote that things. For example, 21, I will get access to 21. So here import pandas, and then this new line, double new line, and then equals and everything, then run logic, then run line magic and other things. So here another thing, the same thing like for out. But in this case, out is not a list, it is dictionary. And if you look here, out 24, out 25, this is the things. So here we can see only out 24, 25, but here out, out 3, then out 24, 23, 22. So here, like you call just out 23 and then it will show the out 23. It's empty. We can also just add maybe like empty, empty. We can add things to it, empty and other things. So it's like object, it's like list, just a list with outputs, just outputs. This is also kind of feature, new feature that I say that you also don't know, but now you know that. So here, simply these things. So in next tutorial, we will talk about magic commands, about shell commands, like what is this exclamation uh, exclamation mark and how to install things. For example, pip install, or what is cd, and what is, for example, lc, and we will talk about later. So thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, press like button. Don't forget to subscribe and share to your friends. See you. Bye.